Welcome to Envato Tuts Plus Premium. This course is titled Creating Vector Art, and this lesson is Detailing Part 2. So you saw in the previous detailing video, we detailed out the mouth and how we used the radial gradient and all the various other aspects to really flesh out the teeth and to add depth to that area of the illustration. Now we're going to focus on the top of the Fire King's head and focus specifically on the fire. And I'm going to show you how to use some Photoshop effects within a vector application such as Adobe Illustrator to pull off a nice detailing aspect on that part of the illustration. We're now going to work on the detailing for the flame part of this artwork. And as I begin to work on this, I noticed one thing. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit by slicing off the bottom part of the flame so it aligns with this inner part of the head to give the illusion that it's coming out of the head. I mean, that's what we want, but I did that too soon. And this is one reason why I keep this layer called storage. It's because sometimes I make goof ups like this, and so what I do is I use it as vector insurance. You could look at it that way. I'll click on this, I'll go back, and this is my original shape for the flames, and as you can see it's unedited, meaning it's not clipped to that edge of the head. So I'm going to make a copy of that, go back to my flame layer, and I'm going to paste that in place. So it saves me some time. I can now work the way I should be working with it, the way I intended to work with it to begin with. So I'm going to take the colored version, just kind of slide it off to the side for a second. I'm actually going to take this and move it down so it goes off past that edge enough to do what I'm going to be doing here next. And these are the kind of changes which I like to just refer to as art directing yourself. It's being able to make these kind of decisions as you build to improve the overall quality of your design or illustration. I'm going to make sure this is pasted behind the inner detailing of the flame, and now we can go back and color it the way it should be. This is going to be a gradient, so we're just going to pick the linear gradient, and we will go back to and get rid of the outline, and we're going to edit the gradient colors. We want the tip of the flames to be the standard kind of orangish yellow, and then more distinct orange towards the base and source of the heat. And this is the gradient it creates. We're going to now rotate it and adjust it, and that's pretty much what we want. I think I'm going to add another color in here. I'm going to put even darker level of orange right at the base. There, I think that works a little better. And I think I'm going to bring more of the yellow down into the design so it's not so dark. There. I think that looks better. That's what I wanted. I'm going to select these, and I'm just going to match the blend in them. But I'm going to have to adjust that. And these can be extended a bit there. And we're going to extend those a little bit there. So we got those whiffs of flame. Now, the reason why I extended this lower in this is because I want to apply what's called an inner glow. And an inner glow is a great effect you can do in Illustrator, especially on something like this. It's going to really transform this from still being somewhat flat looking to giving it some dimension. And I think you're going to understand it when you see it done. So what we're going to do is once again, before I run any kind of Photoshop effect, I tend to like to save my file. So I'm just going to save just in case it crashes, we don't lose anything. Select my shape. I'll go up to Effect, Style, Inner Glow. And this is what you want, inner glow. It's only going to create a glow effect on the inside of the shape you have selected. So we're going to select that. We'll want to select multiply. So whatever color we apply, it multiplies on top of the other colors. 75 seems good, but we're going to select the specific color of orange, the darkest one, and go OK. We're going to preview that. And you can see, if I move this out of the way, you can see the glow it's creating. I think that looks pretty good. I think it can actually go a little bigger. So we're going to try that. And that's pretty close, but I'm going to make it just a little less. Oop, you know what? My bad. I meant to. That's why the decimal system was never adopted in the United States, right there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I think that looks good. 75 I think is a bit too much. We're going to go down to 60. And I think that looks really good. Actually, you know what? Now that I reduce the opacity, I'm going to kick it back up. Yeah, I think that looks good. We're going to commit to it. So just look at how nice and just modeled that looks. So it's a great effect. Now the reason I extended this lower than the edge of the inner head is I didn't want this glow to run the perimeter of the head. I wanted it to go behind that. And I'm going to be making a mask that kind of does that same thing. So we're going to select these. And we're going to go Effect and apply Inner Glow to those as well, so they match the styling. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to borrow this shape from the face, the base face shapes, copy it, go back up to my flame layer, and paste into place, just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to change it to an outline. What I'm creating here is just a really simple mask. There. So I'm going to take that shape, take the shape I copied, using Pathfinder, fuse it into one shape, and now this will serve as my mask shape. I'll take the stroke off so it's no fill, no stroke. It's on top of the content I'm wanting to mask, which is this flame, and I'll mask it. There. Now, as you could see, I didn't go to any menu. It's because I have the mask command using keyboard shortcuts. I've attached the clipping mask make command to my F1 key, so I'll just undo it, so I can have the two things selected and I just hit F1 and it masks it. I can also do it the menu way and go make, but having an F1 key just makes it go a lot faster. So now you can see how it gives the illusion of coming out of his head, and it doesn't have it, and this rim inner glow disappears into that shape. That's why I needed to go back and get my original shape from my original build. That said, we're not done yet. I still think this needs a little subtle shading on the front part in order to pull off the effect as well as it could be. So we're going to go back and we're going to build this, and we're going to just go over here and I think I should zoom in so I can see better what I'm doing. That's the thing. Don't be afraid to take the time to zoom in and just make sure things are the way they should be, because sometimes they look like it on screen, but it really isn't. This is the case where I will now, I'll take this shape. This is where the process gets a little dirty, because it's not clean cut and straightforward. So I brought that shape back again, select this shape, and that creates that. Actually, you know what? This just shows the 2 steps forward, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go in here, grab this shape, come back out here, paste it, select this, get that. Like I said, the process isn't always clean, but that's what you get. Now I'm going to select this, copy, paste, select the shading part, do an intersect, and now we have that. And I'm going to colorize this. Oops, wrong. Colorize stroke, do the fill, do that. Now we'll play with multiply. I think that's a little too dark. And we're going to go to, we'll try 35. That looks pretty close. I actually think the color is it's too orange, it's too clean. I think we, normally I don't like making shades using a lot of black. It tends to come out muddy, but in this case, I think it's going to be okay. So we're going to add 10, and I'm going to push up the magenta another 5, and that'll give us, I think, a color that'll work better for shading. Select that, put the new color in, and there. I think that offsets it and helps to push the flames back a little bit. Now, some of you might be saying, dude, it's flames. Flames wouldn't have a shadow. It's light. It'd be bright. Well, that's where illustration comes in. You can break the laws of thermal dynamics and everything else. It doesn't matter. It just, in sake of communication and clarity, it just looks cooler this way. So I'm kind of leaving it that way. Why I'm here, though, I noticed something, and that is this shape looks good, but I think I'm going to borrow from this. Actually, let me do that over. I'm going to borrow from this, and what I'm going to do actually is we're going to redo that really quick. Go back, gradient. As you can see, I'm exploring and experimenting. Then we're going to take one of these lighter colors. And this is going to be a really tiny gradient. There. Now I think we need to adjust the angle and the depth there. And that way you can see just ever so slightly the subtle fire within showing on the inside of the dude's head. So so that's the detailing on the flames. The next thing we're going to do is the detailing on the eyes, and that is really going to bring this to life. And when you see that, you'll see some other detailing I'm doing off camera. Otherwise, this video would be about 4 hours long, and I don't think you want to sit through all that. So we'll be back with the next video on detailing.